afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast from me, your host, Imperial Dane, featuring today a 1 versus 1 on Semois. Yes, indeed, we're quickly back to Semois. We shall be watching Casparius fighting for the Wehrmacht, fighting for the 1st SS Panzer Division Leibstandarte. Opposing him shall be MWDavetank, fighting for the Americans, fighting for the 4th Infantry Division, holding out as the Germans launch a night assault, something which they were in fact quite fond of doing, in particular during Normandy, since the night time was a bit, hazardous with all the aircraft. Standard start from both players. We are seeing 2 pioneers, Wehrmacht quarters versus 2 engineers barracks. So nothing out of the unusual right there with these 2 gentlemen fighting for honor, glory, and their respective nations. Of course, a bit always quiet in the start, not much really going on. We're probably seeing some riflemen coming out of that barracks. And there we go, the GIs arrived. GI standing for General Issue, which rather than became a bit of a synonym for these chaps as well. And there we go, the Volksgrenadiers on to move. Securing munitions, again, nothing out of the ordinary as of yet. Taking the points right next to the bases. Using the infantry to secure the strategic points. Hiccups. While the pioneers or engineers begin securing all the resource points. And looks like, though, Davetank is already slightly diverting from business as usual right here. Heading straight for the fuel point, whereas Casparius looks like, no, he's also in fact heading straight for the fuel point. Interesting how they're mirroring each other's actions. Although note here, he's doing something called cap walking, which basically means it's a slight trick where you can order one troop to basically head over to another point while you're taking the point, which is happening right here. So that way you can immediately begin taking the next point, although you can risk spreading your troops out a bit too much. Pioneers are coming under fire. Rather than moving in from the north, Schwimmwagen holding out. Volksgrenadiers is holding out here by the fuel point. And there we go, Rifle coming under fire. The Schwimmwagen unleashes death. Rifle coming under slight fire. And now the Schwimmwagen, though, is not really in a good position. I mean, it's fighting against troops in heavy cover. The Schwimmwagen, or the bike for that matter, rather more excelled against troops either by flanking them or by firing while they're out in the open, not by taking them while they're in heavy cover, in which case the riflemen barely take any damage. MD42 know that out for Casparius. Volksgrenadiers, very aggressive play from the Wehrmacht. You usually don't see them going straight for the fuel point of the opponent. In the meanwhile, Davetank is securing the church. Alternative enough, he's largely in this case doing it for reconnaissance purposes. Again, you can gain increased line of sight by popping into a building, thus gaining some situational awareness a bit better than otherwise. We are going to be seeing a counterattack towards this fuel point. Sadly, Casparius is not laying down any sandbags to fortify the position first, making it a bit harder for the opponent to actually force them out of there. And we do see, in fact, now that is what's going to happen, and we see a full retreat from Casparius. At the same time, Davetank is going for the strategic cut-off point. There's only really a Schwimmwagen to hold them back. The MG42 down here trying to deal with what's going on there, but clearly Davetank was not intending to go further there. Right here, they're a bit under fire from the Schwimmwagen. Pioneers doing what they can, though they are taking shots, and there we go, 2 riflemen quickly drop in succession from the fire of the Schwimmwagen. Another Volksgrenadier squad arrives for Casparius. The MG42 looks a bit lonely down there. Victory point secured. Rifleman squad holding up the road here with a nice position inside the building, although they are not necessarily in the best of conditions. And there we go, actually flanking the MG42 down south. So clearly Davetank must have spotted earlier, which can happen. Again, you usually want to be a bit careful about saying an MG42 on its own. It does not have the greatest line of sight either. It usually works better in conjunction with something else, and also why when some players do insist on sending on without infantry, they send in a bike or a Schwimmwagen. There we go, flamethrowers unleashing now on the MG crew. And there we go. Actually, the engineers are quick to run off. And over there, they end up right in front of the MG42. And Davetank loses the entire flamethrower unit. Going for the strategic cutoff point there. Mines going down there. So Davetank can ensure he does not get quite as often harassed. And we see a small force sitting up there. And we're seeing Pioneers advancing. Interesting to lay down mines. Not, for example, taking this point while the rest of the force actually advances up here. That's a bit of an odd approach from Casparius, who's now taking up towards the skirmish phase. Pioneers ending up in a bit of trouble. Davetank has secured a large part of the map at the moment. And Casparius' advance seems a bit staggered and confused. Now getting a sniper out. Interesting, although again a bit peculiar since he's already reached the skirmish phase.
Forward supply lines are broken.
He could have gone for the Krieg barracks and just gotten himself some grenadiers at this stage.
The enemy is seizing our territory.
But again, I think Casparius, what looks at least to me like an initial lack of focus, is rather making it easier for Davetank to break through and just seize territory and harass. There's no real axis of approach going on here. Units sort of standing about, not doing much, and again, sort of a weird spread out of the Volkskanoners again, also limiting their effectiveness overall. Though we do see now the right-hand side getting cut off, vital munitions being denied to Davetank, but at the same time, he's gaining the resources that might more naturally have belonged to Casparius. Sniper moving up, Rifleman could be the first target. There we go. Private Jones bites the dust. The Volkskanoners right here on their own as the Riflemen charge in. Certainly got the easy opportunity. Other Riflemen advancing, coming under fire from the sniper. These Volkskanoners need to be careful. They could in fact go down very much quickly. They might in fact just consider retreating. Other Volkskanoners need to move up. And we're seeing in fact Casparius going on straight for the third tier. Going for the assault phase. At the same time, Davetank is laying up the groundwork for supply out. There we go, Volkskanoners taking heavy damage. Riflemen coming under fire from the sniper, Schwimmwagen, and now Pioneers, the Pionier. More Riflemen advancing, although they are rather low health, and again, the road does make it easier for them, for the Schwimmwagen, to actually do some damage and take some names. And there we go, 4 kills on the Schwimmwagen. Looks like the sniper actually is pulling back somewhat ever so slightly. MG slowly following up in the advance of the Pionier.
Yes, sir.
Volkskanoners is going to be forcing Schwimmwagen slowly advancing. Riflemen playing a slightly dangerous game with it. There we go, MG42 in fact taking up position right here in the small island house. Grenades up from Davetank, getting one straight on the Volkskanoners, killing one and heavily wounding the rest. Very nasty stuff, that.
Yes, sir.
More Volkskanoners will be needed, and again, I mean, considering the sort of approach he's going, he might have at least invested in another Volkskanoners squad. I mean, this is a very aggressive move towards the skirmish phase, not what you usually see, not at least without a lot more information about your opponent's whereabouts, and certainly could end up very badly if not for the fact that Davetank seems to have been slower off the trigger, and certainly gotten grenades. But now, of course, Casparius might be able to take that little rush into his advantage now, in fact. The question is, of course, how much. Volkskanoners taking points. We are seeing some now more spread out advances. He's actually throwing back Davetank a bit. Mining the crossroads right there. Excellent spot for mining, but also right here by the entrance to this, I don't know, farmhouse. Defense right now, Rifleman coming under fire, quickly run off, which of course will also alert now Davetank to the fact there's an MG42 there, which also means there probably won't be, and there we go, mine went off, almost annihilating the Volkskanoners squad, and the engineers will move in to finish off the job. Come on, Casparius to save, no, they went down, the engineers got the kill. Casparius seems a bit shocked, and a bit upset. But again, nice mining from Davetank. Going for one of the more common, in fact, mine spots, which Casparius was not quick enough to pick up on. Trying to hunt down the sniper there, and looks like he succeeds, running him off. Although it looks like now Casparius is going for that strategic cutoff point, and we are going to be seeing some armored cars soon, perhaps? No? Observation post? But there we go. Schwerer Panzer Spähwagen. Grenade going into the house. Rifleman. Oh, Volkskanoners barely make it out there, and the Riflemen then proceed to retreat. Casparius is currently very much lacking in infantry. Mine goes off, killing a rifleman on the retreat. Minesweeper is now out for Davetank to ensure that he does not run into any crap surprises. Casparius making now, in fact, decent progress. But we also now see an armoured car out for Davetank, who's clearly lining up for a fresh assault. And it's going to be a bit difficult for Mr. Casparius, in fact, to hold most of the area. Since again, he's barely got any infantry, barely anything at all. Again, the tech towards this is actually eating up quite a few resources. It looks like a pioneer squad could go down for Casparius. MG there, but now there's of course also an armor car. MG gun in fact goes down. Pioneer squad down. MG needs to get out of there very, very quickly. And there we go, the MG crew burst through the front door and just makes a run for it. Oh, another MG gunner down to one man. Run, Heinz, run! You can still make it! And there we go, 2 mines immediately spotted. Not the strongest of positions. We are seeing the armoured car moving in from Casparius. Going for the north. And there we go. In fact, a mine does go off around here, pinning and killing several riflemen. Another mine goes off. In fact, he did not clear out the mines, or all of them anyways. Armoured car doing what I can to deal with the minesweeper engineers. First guys following up. And we are seeing a second Schwerer Panzerwagen out for Casparius. Schwimmwagen following up. Troops in the center getting sniped as Davetank tries to reroute. And we're seeing a Puma upgrade for the armored car, equivalent with a 50mm gun. Pretty much the exact same one as the Panther 3. And there we go. Looks like the armored car could go down, but so could the Puma. This is very damn close, and Casparius needs to be careful he does not lose it. 50mm round flies through the air and fails to hit. Rifleman getting caught though behind enemy lines as both armor cars, and now the Schwimmwagen moves in. A full heavily armed reconnaissance units on the field. At least the vehicle parts of it. That is definitely going to need some repairs. It's going to look like they will be taking up position in the house. Davetank, though, seems to be not so aggressive. He's taking a slightly more passive approach when it comes to this. He's not launching a lot of full-off assaults or a lot of flanking. He's conserving resources, which you can also see there by the fact he's actually floating quite a bit of manpower and fuel. Although we do now see an anti-tank gun. And what else? A Trier center going up. That is good. But again, a bit cautious play here by Davetank. Of course, sometimes it can pay off, but it's always something you have to be careful of. Grenade going off against the false grenades. We do see a retreat. And the Puma still not getting repaired. Casparius desperately needs more infantry, although he's now currently mining off every approach, every road, to perhaps focusing down into more narrow approaches. Blah. That probably came off a bit silly. And using the armored cars to quickly shield off against any American infantry assaults. And there we go. The Greyhound has not been repaired either. We finally do see the anti-tank gun up. But again, Davetank could be using his resource for a lot of things. He could go for an observation post on the fuel point. Bunker going up. Likely going to be a repair bunker. Anti-tank gun moving up, and sticky bombs now on the way for Davetank. The tank of Daves. Or something. There we go, the Puma's getting upgraded. We're seeing another bunker going up now for Casparius, much more forwards. Considering the position, it's likely going to be an MG bunker. That would also be the only thing that made sense, since any other bunker would be basically much too exposed in this position. Even an MG bunker essentially would. So, I mean, an anti-tank could take up position and begin blasting away with impunity. Or without impunity, I'm not entirely sure how that goes. Sniper fire, we do see a repair bunker up there. Lovely. Sniper continues his devilish work over here. Although we do now see the Americans pushing up. We're seeing the anti-tank and staying up there in case of the armor cars pushing forwards. Still not a lot of infantry for Casparius. He's still relying only on a single squad of Fultz Grenadiers.
Losing ground out there.
Rifleman continues to get sniped. Armor car pushes forward slowly. Rifleman following up. And there we go, MG fire from the market square. And there we go, Puma opens up and misses, instead causing a huge splash of water. Pioneers need to get out of there. Oh, Pioneers got one down. Gunner got killed by the Puma. Still nothing there on that bank. And then we got another nice hit, taking the armoured car down to half health. The Greyhound retreats in the face of the Puma. At the same time, Raven going to attack some Pioneers up here again. Very much desperate lack of infantry from Casparius. Stug now, Kampfkraft sent up. And he went for a medic bunker. I mean, considering the amount of ground units he has, that's a really odd choice, and certainly perhaps not a really well thought out one. I mean, he's got one squad of full gunners, he's got some MG and some Pioneers, but ultimately, I mean, it's not going to be enough to really, you know, make it pay off. At least not in the shorter run, so I mean, that's actually a pretty weird choice, in particular when you also consider the positioning, which again is quite open. I mean, the buildings won't shield it from artillery, and any anti-tank could in fact go up here or here and pretty much just blast it into the ground. I mean, for a medic bunker, it's pretty poorly placed. Rather than going in for the Stug here, the Stug a bit on its own as well, going to get sticky bombed, and usually you want to keep an assault gun supported by infantry. So I'm not entirely sure why Casparius is being that much a risk taker. Be on up for Davetank, who again needs to stop floating manpower. Armor car, though, flanking about the entire German position, going in after the MG. Raven, though, punishing casualties from the MG-42, which might end up taking its own casualties from the Greyhound, though, again running into the armor car now. Veterans 1. 2 infantry killed so far. Pioneers swiftly repairing. Puma needs to set in for the hunt on that Greyhound, and a Needwerf would be nice here. Engineers getting sniped. Sniper needs to be very careful. MG taking up position in the church. False constant advancing, but again, only one single squad. Why is that Pioneer not being picked up? He's wounded, man. Christ, what a bunch of indifferent medics. Stug makes it all the way back quite safely. Surprisingly enough. But we are seeing the Kampfkraft Center again taking on something for Casparius. Could be some veterancy for the Stug, I suppose. Casparius, though, now being nicely penned in by Davetank. Again, the lack of infantry for Casparius is making it rather difficult for him to really advance and do some damage. And also take some points and again, you know, keep up some pressure. And sadly, you can't rely fully on armored cars or Stug, because again, those things really need infantry support to be successful in the assault. In particular, the Stug. Supplied on the way for Davetank, that is good, or upgrade anyways, and another anti-tank gun. Davetank clearly worried about something going to come up from Casparius. Going for the munitions up there, at least Casparius is definitely on the whole harassment part of the game, but again, very much lacking in the whole infantry department. And then we've got the single Volkskriegs squad immediately running into a rifle squad, and of course, I mean, that's another problem. The Volkskriegs won't be able to do much, in particular now the rifle have sticky bombs, grenades, and, you know, BARs. They're absolutely no match at all. In particular, not when they're only one squad. They're going to need a lot more for that. Pioneers are getting assaulted. Veterans 1 for the support units now for Casparius. That's the first SS. Their assault already bogging down. Apparently not enough infantry was detached for this part. Another anti-tank gun, supplied upgrade number 1. Davetank again could be spending his manpower on, say, something like this. I mean, a lot of manpower doing nothing is never good. Though we do see infantry reduction now for Davetank, but again, spend that manpower. I mean, for a player who's actually reasonably high, does seem odd. And I mean, even for starters, level 16 with Wehrmacht. Right here, though, taking heavy damage. The Puma and the armored car doing quite a bit of damage. .900 manpower, come on, Davetank. Stug holding up the center, MG stopping up another assault, but will he be able to stop this up? Schwimmag moving in, armor cars need to return. Artillery getting called in, probably on the church, yes indeed. Greyhound advances now, we've got anti-tank guns up, Stug taking a hit, MG crew loses one man. Armor cars arrive, Schwimmag arrives, but again they lack something to dig out the anti-tank guns. There are no need rifles, no infantry really to speak of. And now, of course, note the medic bunker is immediately coming under fire as well. Raven here taking quite a few shots. And there we go. Flamethrower engineers also moving in. Nothing to cover another Stug. But again, no infantry except one squad of Fultz Grenadiers, which is so far away from where it is needed. Stug here right on a mine, taking heavy damage, going to get pulled off. Raven advancing slowly, could in fact hit the mine, which would definitely buy Casparius some time. And let's go return to him. There we go. Mine goes off. Pioneer's gun down. Raven, could go down on the retreat to the armored cars and the Schwimmwagen for that matter. And there we go, down to one man. And there we go. Davetank loses one rifleman squad. That is definitely going to hurt. Stug advances, gets another kill with his Sturmkanone, which was the name of that gun. Raven here also continuing to take heavy damage. The armored cars are definitely doing quite alright. And there we go, the Puma right in front of the anti-tank gun. Nebelwerfer finally arrives, but again, Infantry. Infantry, meine Herren. Braucht es Infanterie. And looks like they will get the medic bunker without it actually having even picked up a single wounded, not a single casualty recovered. So again, not really much of usage at all for Casparius. And there we go, the Nebelwerfer rockets unleashes hell upon the American positions. Might get something here though. If it indeed does fire there, and first few rockets fly too far. There we go though. And a large retreat right there going on from Davetank, who's actually retreating his anti-tank and straight through the fires, burning the crew alive. That's not necessarily the best of ideas. And there we go, only one crew member dead, forcing the rest to pick up the anti-tank. And in the middle of the fire, Fultz goes down south, getting pushed off by the armored car. Nasty response right there from Davetank, and certainly the right one. Again, a great way to use armored cars, not necessarily in the thickest of the fighting as a tank, but again on the flanks to quickly deal with harassers with more firepower than harassers would usually be equipped with. Mining the center, MG in the church, although the church is in a horrible condition, and we're now seeing Davetank in fact going for a 105mm howitzer. Taking up going on for Casparius. Still one squad of infantry. Come on, Casparius. Mines going down here. I know some players like to seem to think that infantry is not vital, but it is. Hell, even Fultz Grenadiers can do the job if you just give them enough veterancy and the right support. But again, that's not even happening right here for Casparius, which is a bit of a shame. Anti-tank, and in fact being pulled back for reinforcement and healing. Nice move there by Davetank. Does take a bit of a while, but on the other hand, will pay off in the longer run. In particular, if we get repaired, and I do believe we'll hear the roar of the 105mm howitzer. And looks like, direct hit on the church steeple, sending it toppling down upon the interior of the church, killing the MG crew. What an artillery hit! And again, always a reminder that be careful with having troops in it. Buildings already low on health. Troops inside will die when the building collapses. Sniper here on his own. Casparius, Vorsicht, Rückzug. And again, no infantry to man the front line. Looks like the snipers might barely make it out of there. Stug crushing forward. Getting sticky bomb, though. Rifle getting blasted by the armored cars. 3 and 7 kills. Damaged engine. And now we do see Davetank making a last advance in the wake of the artillery, having, and of course the rifle pulling up on the assault on the flank. The second wave arrives, but it hits a mine. And now all of a sudden Casparius is very keen on hunting it down, but oh my goodness, that's quite a few mines being laid down there by Davetank. He's quite intent on drawing something in. From here getting blasted though, heavy fire from the Germans. And there we go, the Nebelwerfer firing again, armored car getting repaired, Stug getting repaired, lots of repairs going on, Panzer Command going up for Casparius. The first SS Panzer Division is really home with the Panzers now to break the stalemate. Anti-tank guns getting rocketed, and the armored car's in a bit of trouble. Stug advances, but where's the Greyhound? The Puma's taking a direct hit from the artillery. Quickly get it out of there, Casparius. And the Stug goes, the Pioneer, so much going down right there from a direct hit. Absolutely nasty artillery going on there. Engineers retreating, anti-tank gun firing. And the armored car went down. Quite a vicious blow against Casparius, who lost almost all of his pioneers, in fact. Has lost an armoured car and his and a quick retreat going on there from the assault guns. The centre being over. And of course, I mean, the retreat forced by the Stugs is again lacking infantry. So there's nothing to actually hold the town, there's nothing to protect the flanks of the Stug, meaning again they have to pull out because again, Casparius has no infantry. And now we do see Davetank flanking about nicely here, very nicely done. Of course, again, the response from Casparius can be a bit lacking. And now he's actually sending in straight into town again, although Davetank has been forced away. And again, flanking out here, instead of trying to seek attention in the tent, of course, in an engagement there, which he currently does not have the resources for. He's instead, you know, branching out to the flanks where he can find much easier targets and prey. And again, Casparius cannot afford to send much there because, again, he's lacking in infantry. And he doesn't have any armoured cars either, though with the Ostwind Flak Panzer now does arrive from the Panzer Command, and we do see a Ritterkreuzträger out. That is going to help a bit. Grenades going off here, Volker's getting pushed away. Ostwind Flak Panzer will likely be detailed to send that, and of course now the response up north is coming in as well. Rifleman hit, nice hit from the Puma, exploding 2 riflemen on the spot, ending their lives with a bang. Und Kruppstiel. Now, of course, would be a great time for Davetank to actually head into town, because why? Because now Casparius is completely occupied with the flanks. He's occupied with the wings, not with the centre. So again, that is when Davetank ought to be rushing into it and occupying it, but he's a bit lacking in the things that can occupy. In fact, he looks like he lost his anti-tank guns, which is actually a bit grave. But again, he ought to be heading in now there and trying to sort of fortify, and again, that way, when then Casparius moves in again, sans infantry, he's going to get a bit of a beating there. Pressure, they're going up. The pioneers doing their best to hold up the rifle inside the house. They're not going to be able to do that much, but some bits might be available. Stug slowly turning. Beagle's holding up there. Ultimately, though, I think the overall movement from Davetank towards the centre has been a bit lacking, to put it mildly. Ritterkreuzträger, though, finally arrives. Will there be more on the way? I would definitely recommend. Oh, artillery very close, actually hitting them. More general barrage towards the centre there. And of course, I mean, it is a crossroads, so not a huge surprise there that Dave is firing towards that point. I mean, as it is, if you're really insisting on going to firing into the blind, I mean, there are usually some areas which tends to be better targets than others. For example, again, crossroads, and particularly if you know your enemy is actually somewhat near them, can work off again. I mean, generally, areas of high traffic, at least suspected high traffic, tends to be good areas to call in artillery on if necessary. Again, I would always prefer you didn't. But it can work. Again, for example, this would also be a good area to lob artillery at, besides this area. And of course, there's always a spot right in front of the headquarters. So these are just merely some ideas. If you must throw artillery at the enemy, now again, areas of what can basically be described as high traffic, where you can always be largely certain there's something going to moving through, thus meaning it's going to be a bloody easy target. In particular, if a lot of vehicles move through and they actually get bunched off due to poor traffic, again, very much a great artillery target. Veterans 2 popping up, giving MGs a bit of health there to the Stugs. Tank depot up for Davetank. So the Davetank depot now ready, and it's actually time for the mid-game analysis. Currently, Casparius has been thrown back. He needs to push the Americans out of the centre, and he needs to do some damage. Although, I mean, it's not like Davetank at the moment is actually holding it through sheer force. He's actually holding it through some sheer more clever maneuvering, and again, the lack of infantry. There's nothing threatening Davetank's infantry solidly. There's nothing actually forming a front line, which again is quite important, and again is allowing Davetank to sneak through all the cracks. That is also a reason why infantry is important. They form a front line. Again, they do possess some of the better line of sights in the game, so again, quite vital, and again, a bit of a, well, quite grave lacking on the behalf of Casparius. So again, something to remember. Davetank, though, needs to form up a more solid punch by now. I mean, the armoured forces of Casparius are growing, and he can't keep, you know, holding them at bay with smoke and mirrors and anti-tank guns and artillery. He needs something a bit more solid. Of course, the tank depot will provide that. And again, he's also got this nice flank up here to try and, you know, flank the German armoured positions. He should probably not be trying to actually move through the town, because then the Stugs will win, because they can largely lock down the main avenue of the road here. And again, that way they can pretty much deny the enemy their greatest weakness, which is flanking about the Stug. Puma should not be here. The Puma ought to be operating on the flanks and protecting any infantry that is sent in there to do some flanking work, not in the middle of town. And Davetank might also want to consider a medic station up and such, but let us get back to the fight. The Krieg. And then the Riegers take off moving forwards with their assault rifles. Greyhound moving forwards, opening up on the Knight Crossholder. Stug taking hits. We are seeing the Stugs pulling up the advance right there. Rifleman taking hits. Ostwind pulling up the flank. Armoured car doing nothing. That could have been moving up there to, you know, flank the American positions. And artillery getting called in on the Ostwind. Flak Panzer needs to retreat. And the Ostwind is taking heavy damage. Not just from the artillery, but from the anti-tank gun. Clearly, Davetank were hoping to basically just ensure that Ostwind would go down, but that did not happen, although heavy artillery continues to rain down. Pretty much rendering that back garden a mess. And Casparius' Volkswagen is very close, actually hitting a mine down there. Now we do see Davetank putting up pressure in the center, actually trying to fan with the anti-tank and providing the main pressure on the German armored vehicles. And if Davetank was basically to flank in with a force right here, he could actually do quite some decisive damage to Casparius. Stug, though, taking heavy damage from the anti-tank gun. Greyhound hits a mine destroyed, and your main gun destroyed. Good night. Armor Cup pulling up. I think Casparius is making a bit of a grave mistake here. Again, the Puma is not meant for head-on assaults, although so far been quite fortunate. And now we do see the Germans pulling up. The Stugs are nowhere near to actually sort of try and deal with it. So really nice move right there from Davetank, working nicely, using speed, using excellence. And the Ostwind, I mean, all the German armor vehicles are currently a lot of damage, and they can actually being a bit clumped up. And they've got a nice flanking shot with the anti-tank, and sniper opens up, gets the crew, artillery hammering down. Repair bunker further moved up after the previous one got blasted into bits. But the situation is looking grim for the Germans and the 1st SS, as artillery continues to crumble buildings and panzers alike. And there we go, the Volkswagen has actually managed to sneak up here. That is good. Still no real infantry veterancy. No further units, and 8 command points floating. Not good. Casparius, nicht gut. And Davetank pushes up the pressure again. Although we do see the Puma being sent up actually to deal with harassers on the flank. Misses first shot. Sniper fire here. Needlewerfer fire there. And there we go. The Puma does force away Dave. Or harassers, I suppose. Needlewerfer fire again, softening up the defense. And we do see Casparius moving forwards, but the force he's sending in seems to be a bit of a last-ditch one. And he insists on getting more Ostwinds. In particular, now that we have confirmed now that Davetank is switching over towards armor, that, I mean, Ostwinds, yeah, might as well go for Panzer Force. And oh, the Puma heading up there, hitting a mine. Casparius hoping for some flanking with his Puma, instead hits a mine and there's no support. He will need to quickly dispatch forces to save it. Otherwise, I mean, he's going to lose that Puma. At the same time, force goes down here being dealt with the Sherman, which can also quite nicely deal with harassers. We do see the pioneers running, so they can seize the Puma. Drive, little Puma. And the riflemen are moving in. It's a thriller, suspense movie, drama, action, emotions. And there we go, the Puma is getting repaired. Riflemen moving in, they're opening up. Puma fires away, doesn't quite. Oh, the mine, this huge minefield. Riflemen advancing. And the Puma sets off the mines! The Puma sets off the mines and destroys the entire rifleman squad! A heroic death from the Puma! He shall be remembered, or say shall be remembered, the crew that is, as heroes of the fatherland. And again, that also highlights another lesson: always be careful around your own bloody mines. That one was definitely something else. I wonder if he actually had laid down a Greyhound mine and sort of hoping for the double explosion right there, and then it actually backfired on it when the Puma set it off. Either way, I suspect Dave was a bit surprised. But going for the southern munitions, Panzer IV finally arriving for Casparius, finally something else than Flakpanzers und Sturmgeschütz. Schwimmwagen hiding there with 7 kills. The Schwimmwagen still alive, in fact, quite impressive. And we're seeing a second Sherman out for Davetank. Davetank stays true to his name and goes for tanks. And of course, there's only one Stug here, but with 2 Shermans, it could pull through. And we're seeing Upgun. And there we go, anti-tank and gets a Stug. The central area is collapsing. And there's not enough in terms of anti-tank defenses. We are seeing Knights crossing Pioneers with BARs being rushed in to plug up the center. But simply too much now. Armored, well, not armored cars, but anti-tank guns and Shermans soon to be upgunned. Rather now advancing, coming under intense fire from the Germans, mustering as much as they can. Grenade on the Knights Cross, almost wiping them out. Hey, did get wiped out. Panzer IV needs to be rushed to the front line now, and again, Casparius needs more infantry. And a part of me hopes he goes for Blitzkrieg so he can get some stormtroopers out, because he really seriously needs something with a Panzer and perhaps some assault rifles as well. But there we go, Panzer IV advances. German advances as well, opening up, doing some nice damage to the Stug, and they've got artillery raining in. The Panzers need to get out of there. Niederwerfer's fire in return. Stug heavily damaged from the artillery fire. Engineers taking heavy losses as they desperately repair. Anti-tank gun nicely positioned behind it all. Takes off a nice hit. Germans heavily damaged. Stug continually throws off shots from the front. Main gun destroyed. Knights Cross running forwards, taking losses to the Sherman. Pioneers dying. No, the Stug turns about. Exposes the rear. Engine destroyed. Oh no, this is going to be the end of the mighty Stug. Oh, main gun destroyed, but the Stug is still standing. The other Sherman, though, couldn't in fact be hunted down by anything, very simply. And the Stug bites the dust. Sherman gets Vengeance 1, increasing the speed, allowing it to quickly swoop out of there. Ostman moving about in the north. Units go down there for Davetank. Oh, a Volkswagen squad had flanked the entire position. We're seeing a medic station up for Davetank. Davetank actually went ahead and got a medic station. Impressive. Impressive. And better placed. Again, it sort of follows the rules, I would argue for it. Close to the front line, but has something ensuring that the enemy can't just take a shot at it. So again, well-placed medic station right there from Davetank. Very nice. Repair bunker up. Nebelwerfer ready. Kreuzträger und alles das. And again, Davetank needs to get a bit more on it with his expenditures. In fact, I think he could get an off-map combat group now, about soon. Artillery getting called in, which means Stockton, which likely means either defensive or terror. And we're seeing a firestorm knocking out one of the Shermans, immobilizing the other. Not necessarily the doctrine I would have recommended, but there you go. Did the trick as well. And yes, firestorms can actually damage tanks and vehicles, but it's not what you usually see them used for, mind you. Another Panzer IV rolls out, still lacking in infantry, although looks like another Knights Cross score is out. Ostman's doing what they can, but I mean, currently they are in a bit of trouble again. They're not really meant for holding the line on their own. Clearly, Casparius does not seem phased by that, and we do see an advance for Davetank again. The anti-tank guns following up in the wake of the infantry. Niederwerfer's firing once more, bit of veteran for them. He could consider more veterancy to partly increase the rate of the barrages, but also in fact increase the damage of the rockets, ensuring they can much more swiftly clear out gun crews. Ostman here heavily damaged. Anti-tank is setting up right from them, are getting depleted in their advance, and another. Looks like another rifle squad could go down very close, but looks like the Ostmans all of a sudden can't hit the broadside of a barn. Panzer IV retreating, and more artillery getting called in. Ostman advances straight into it though. And Hellcats are now rolling out for Davetank to take on the German Panzers a bit more successfully. Volksgrenadiers moving down south. Knights Cross doing what they can down there. And there were technically not any actual Knights Cross soldier squads in the war. The closest you ever get were basically assault squads formed out of a company's best and brightest men. Usually veteran sergeants, corporals, basically NCOs. They'd be formed into a special unit. Or basically sometimes when the enemy got too close to Germany, for example, they would take out an officer, well, under-officer training school and basically take all the units there in training, basically form them into a full company or battalion of their own and basically throw them at the enemy. Bit of a waste, but I mean it had some action, and again that's rather the closest I can really imagine these Knights Cross soldiers fit into. Again, that would be those sort of improvised assault units of veteran troops. More specifically, again, senior troops, not quite officers. But the terror, I suppose, were not completely unseen, because again, he did not really get anything for quite a bit of time, which usually means you're either going for terror or you're not entirely sure what you're doing. And at this level, he's likely to know somewhat what he's doing. I'm not entirely going to argue it's the best, but there you go. You could at least benefited a bit earlier from some of the terror doctrines abilities used earlier. And the fight. And there we go, Sherman quickly moves in, opens up on the Knights Cross, misses. Fantastic job there. Flames are swelling, and there we go, retreating, fighting for the victory points, definitely taking down for Davetank. Rather than advancing up in full force. A bit too close though for my liking. Another bunker going up for Casparius. Most of the Panzers are now repaired, we're seeing veterans free. Interesting move. I mean, we're not seeing a lot of sticky bombs from Davetank. So, I mean, it seems a bit of an odd choice, in fact. I mean, the only thing that's really going to benefit from it are the Ostwinds, and that's only going to help them kill the infantry a bit quicker. It's not going to help, say, against tank destroyers or Shermans. Volkskriegs here definitely taking some losses, and there we go, we are seeing a full advance from Casparius, except the last Ostwind, which is still waiting in repair bay. Oh dear, the Hellcat is the one taking the hits. The Volkskriegs need to be careful, they're caught right in the middle of everything. There's down to one man, Heinz Wuxug, and there we go, the Panzer advance, and there we go, we do see the Hellcat going down. I'm not entirely sure why Davetank insists on that, had to be at the front line. And we're seeing a ton of manpower being flooded. Come on, Davetank, spend it. And there we go, finally the off-map combat group arrives, providing heavy machine guns en masse, rifleman squad, and some anti-tank gun fun. I think he needs some more units, and there we go, Panzer Force advancing, oh dear, anti-tank gun quickly getting flanked, there we go, Firestorm getting called in as the entire force advances, riflemen taking heavy losses, this is quickly turning up, very punishing for Davetank. His units are dying, screaming in the streets as rockets tear through their flesh. And their other comrades are getting gunned down by the Shermans. I mean, the Panzer Force or the Ostwinds. The Shermans is the one, you know, not really doing much. The Knights Cross squad take up position in the house, dominating nearby, and it's going to finish off that medic station quite quickly. We do see the rest of Davetank's combat group now arriving, but the question is, of course, if it will actually do much. I'm in particular a bit unsure if the heavy machine guns will be much used, but there we go. We do see the anti-tank gun up with some armor-piercing rounds. It can provide a threat. Very close to getting the King Tiger there for Casparius. Getting another Panzer Force, still very low on infantry. Engineers popping into the house, but that did not work out very well. And looks like that medic station will go down for day without having done much. Quickly recruiting the other one, perhaps. 30 caliber setting up. Knights Cross taking heavy losses, 30 caliber opening up in a brave move right in front of that Panzer IV, which is slowly conducting a slightly rearward retreat. Now the Riflemen are going to run into quite a nasty surprise as the Ostwind opens up, catches them in the cemetery and decides to add them to the ones already in turn. Oh my goodness, just tearing through them. Like the Grim Reaper, and the medic station still standing. And it's only being locked into the cemetery area, and possibly in an attempt to get that Ostwind. Fails in largely doing anything. Now it's a duel between the Panzer IV and the anti-tank gun, which the Panzer IV is obviously going to lose. You do not want to slug it out with an anti-tank, and you want to try and flank it and quickly deal with it that way. And that was not a good move there by Casparius. He lingered too long, and now he's lost not just a pioneer squad, but that Panzer IV out of control, crashing into a tree, leaving a wreck and the path clear for the Americans. Though we do see the King Tiger is soon ready to arrive. You also see again that Casparius is quite low in the whole actually having people that can shoot the other people department.
The Yankees are grabbing our territory.
Casparius is certainly coming under pressure. And there we go, Raffen under intense fire as Ostwind and Panzer IV just tear through them. The Sherman is still there, funnily enough. Despite everything, I suppose. And currently, Casparius can't get the King Tiger. He does not possess the sufficient population to re-secure it. And there we go, the medic station finally goes down. Tragic. And there you go, Ostwind actually going in for the observation post. And the Sherman's finally getting repaired, and looks... Oh, no observation post there. Though we do see the 30 caliber taking out a position behind the wooden cart, ready to ambush any krauts that might decide they want some munitions to lob at the enemy. And another of my... Oh, this is definitely going to help Davetank out quite a bit. 2 Hellcats. Mortar, I suppose, could also be useful. There's not really much for them to mortar per se. But that Ostwind is definitely going to regret ever Ostwinding anything if the Hellcats do decide to go after that. And we do see that Casparius has rather dangerously spread out his armor. It should actually allow for Davetank to actually clear them out one at a time, which would definitely prove very detrimental to the cause of the 1st SS Panzer Division. And there we go, the Knights crossholders advancing straight into the 30 caliber, and we do see a blitz assault going in there. A good way to clear it out. In some ways, it actually allows you to ignore suppression. There we go. Stunned, though not quite fully working. But of course, allows the Knights crossholders, the other ones, with the sort things out with the assault rifles as the crew suddenly take a lot of damage. Unit goes down, likely a Ostwind. And there we go. The Hellcats advancing from the north. Panzer IV moves in, but again, 2 tank destroyers versus 1 Panzer. Another Panzer IV advances, quickly containing the situation down there. Ostwind and Knights Cross in unison, though largely the Knights Cross at that one in hand to tear out the MG there, but they are losing the centre. Panzer IV looks to be moving forward, and looks like the Hellcat might try to actually lure them into the mine. Will Casparius take the bait? Or will he realise there's something rotten? No, he doesn't, and the Panzer IV gets immobilised. Response from Davetank is to send in a single anti-tank gun, which is largely also what's going to be needed, unless Casparius takes up quick defensive measures and actually tries to set up a flanking position to cover it. No, instead he pulls away, which pretty much means he's abandoning that Panzer IV to a grim fate. And a very explosive one, and there we go, the anti-tank advances, comes under fire, and there we go, Panzer IV, good night, Veteran T2, good day for the anti-tank gun. Veteran T2 for the Sherman, increasing penetration. Knights Cross are quickly suffering in front of the flamethrowers and the Sherman. More Knights Cross actually now arriving for Casparius, but his panzers are quickly, well, dropping in numbers. And there we go, the final one, running straight into a vast amount of anti-tank weaponry. 2 Hellcats and now an anti-tank gun. Firestorm going to call in to actually cover the retreat. Bit of a desperate maneuver right there by Casparius. One which does... And one crash later. Whoops. One crash later, we are back in the fight. One part I actually wish we could skip part of the replays without having to scroll through the entire thing. But the King Tiger arrives, will not so much save the day, as at least ensure it doesn't become a complete disaster for the time being. Again, heavy armoured losses for Casparius, down to a single Ostwind, which is definitely going to get knocked out by this Sherman, unless God himself intervenes. So things are looking a bit grim for Casparius. Though he finally does have 3 infantry squads. They're currently under mortar fire and Sherman fire. King Tiger quickly being well, relatively quickly being sent in towards the center to try and contain the madness there. Already here that the Night Scots are taking a beating that will ring through the ages. And artillery fire going into town. Oh, I think the Naval might not advance a bit too quickly. Take direct hits from the artillery. Down one man already. Now, of course, question becomes, how will Davetank handle the threat of the King Tiger? I mean, he could try and basically overwhelm it through sheer numbers of Hellcats, possibly the Sherman. That might work, or he might basically try and ignore it, basically contain it in here, and send all of his forces towards here to deal with what is there, because the King Tiger can only be one place at once, which basically means everywhere else is going to be considerably weakened, in particular, considering Casparius' current situation. And that would actually be a strategy that could very much pay off, and definitely needs to pay off, because Davetank at the moment is very, very much low on resources. Or, more importantly, victory points. Looks like the assault is going in. The Riflemen are taking direct hits. Riflemen advancing up, but they are simply getting murdered by the Austrian protecting the point there. Knight's Cross doing the job as well. The King Tiger is actually retreating in the face of this. Propaganda war, though. Buy some time. Artillery getting called in on the King Tiger. And a damaged engine from the sticky bomb. Basically, Davetank hoping to immobilize, or at least make it harder for it to avoid the artillery, and then just calling in everything between heaven and earth. Calling in another barrel straight from the Howards itself on the map. All those several shots basically fly off the armor, and the King Tiger was actually thick enough to actually resist artillery fire, although it would not necessarily have been a very comfortable experience inside the tank. Hellcat moves up. Panzerfaust on the Sherman. Sherman circling about. That is good. That is very good, but at the same time needs to be careful with his own artillery, and it takes a hit from Davetank's own artillery. Damaged engine stuck in a crater. We are seeing two tanks, those by the looks of it, moving in hastily as swiftly as possible. Sherman has a destroyed engine. King Tiger is taking intense fire, and the Knight's Cross soldier, as he fires a Panzerfaust, gets crushed beneath the Hellcat. More artillery. Davetank is just launching in everything he has. And there we go. The other Hellcats are moving in. The central victory point needs to be secured soon. Going for the fuel point at this stage, perhaps a bit. And there we go. The King Tiger's down. The King Tiger is down, and a medic bunker again for Casparius. Seems a bit odd. And now it's ringing for my ears. Might be all of this artillery. And there we go, the Austrian bites us. The Schwimmwagen with 9 kills is still alive, but the Hellcat also finishes off that one.
Americans are seizing territory from us.
And the Knight's Cross are losing the fight over here by the looks of it. And no, might they pull it off? Might they? Down to one man. No, they're dead. A total collapse for the 1st SS Panzer Division. They have lost too much now in the face of the 4th Infantry. Their assault has petered out, and again I largely think comes down to again that lack of infantry and too many Austrians, and again that veterancy free which never really came into play. And now we do see the Hellcats rolling into town. Knight's Cross getting murdered.
Enemy unit down.
Niederwerfer cleared out. A Panzer IV rise, but that's pretty much going to go down quickly. Interestingly enough, he never bothered with a single Panther on the other hand. Which might actually have been more of an aid to the Panzer IV than a Ostwind. So that is pretty much it. GG, speeding this up. There we go. This last Panzer dead. Another off-map combat group. A desperate attempt to go for that, but now there is a 30 caliber covering it, and that was sloppy of me. Well played. Thanks, GG. And there we go. Game over. A loss to the Wehrmacht. A loss to Casparius in the face of Davetank. Rather close game, and again, I think it largely came down to the odd bunker placement of Casparius. At times, again, that medic bunker right here made no sense whatsoever, and that lack of infantry. And also the fact that he delayed his doctrinal choice for so long might also have hurt him a bit longer. And I mean, if you really insist on getting veterans free, he should also have gone for Blitzkrieg, because again, I mean, Tiger tanks really benefit from veterans free compared to King Tigers who don't at all. And again, you know, might have allowed him to call in more at the time. And again, also stormtroopers and infantry. Again, he lost desperately lacking in infantry. And that, again, pretty much hurt him the most. I mean, we saw some good moves. We saw some nice usage of the armored cars. And that move up here, again, was quite memorable. But ultimately, again, I think Casparius could have done better with some more infantry. And perhaps some more Nebelwerfer and perhaps some more veterancy for them. But it was actually quite close. Davetank probably should have been more aggressive at times. But ultimately, it paid off. Not just launching in willy-nilly here and there, but actually setting up some good punches and actually trying to harass about and the mines, although in one case it did backfire. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. Hope you learned something from it. If you did, why not subscribe, tell your friends, or share. If you didn't, well, why not send a replay of your own or provide some feedback in the comments. Feedback is appreciated. And so on. So this is Imperial Dane saying cheers.